This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or simply making a donation. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now, the more observant amongst you will have noticed that I'm wearing exactly the same clothes as I was wearing in Wednesday's video. And that's not because of any hygiene issues on my part, it's because I'm filming this video on Wednesday as well, because I'm going to be busy on Friday, so just to put your mind at rest. But let's pretend it is Friday, shall we, because that's when you're no doubt watching this. Yeah, the past few Friday videos have been on the topic of, what's the best Les Paul for 300 quid or less? What's the best Telecaster? What's the best Stratocaster for 300 quid? And in the comments section to all of those videos, people have said, yes, but if you buy a used one, you can get one of these, which is much better, and it's still in budget. So what I thought I'd do today is do a video on what's the best used guitar for 300 quid or less, which is a little bit trickier, admittedly, because, when you're dealing with a Strat or a Tele or a Les Paul, there are sort of set parameters that you stay within and you're comparing like with like. But here, we're casting the net a little bit wider. I've tried to include all of the obvious choices in this lineup, and what I've done is I've sort of imagined that it's an instrument for someone who's playing in a covers band. Like the kind of cabaret working men's club circuit that I played in for many, many years. And there was one band where I was playing, Queen songs right next to Chris Rea songs, right next to Right Said Fred and Chesney Hawkes. That dates it a little bit, doesn't it? And, David Bowie and Deacon Blue and all of that kind of stuff, covering a wide range of guitar tones. And I'm sort of imagining that that's the purchaser who's in this video, if you like. That's who's going to be buying this guitar. So without further ado, let's have a look at the lineup. Okay, our first offering is from the good folks at Ibanez. This is the SI360QM, and as you can probably see, the QM stands for quilted maple. You get a mahogany body with a quilted maple top with what looks like abalone binding, also abalone dots on the neck there. And as you can see, you get a HSS pickup configuration, and a quick Google of the specs told me that this guitar actually sports Alnico magnet pickups. One word of caution on this guitar: I saw a Daryl Braun video recently where he was modding an Ibanez, not this particular model, but it did have this particular trem on it, and he was unable to do any work upgrading the trem, like a bigger, chunkier block or anything like that, because this is a proprietary Ibanez design and no standard aftermarket parts will fit onto this, like a block or anything like that. So if you're wanting to possibly at some point in the future upgrade the trem, that is something that you might want to consider, but maybe you just don't want to bother. And if that's the case, this is a very attractive take on HSS Fat Strat design, it has to be said. And ask yourself this: when was the last time you played a bad Ibanez? They just don't make them like that, really, do they? Anyway, maybe you are looking for something a little bit more traditional if you're after a fat Strat, and this might just fit the bill. This is the Fender Squier Vintage Modified Stratocaster, and as you can see, you get Duncan designed pickups, the more traditional 6-screw bridge, which is more to my liking, I must admit. You do, however, only get 21 frets, unlike the Ibanez with 22, but that's entirely consistent with something that is a vintage modified guitar. I prefer 22 frets, but at this kind of price, 230 quid, it wouldn't be a deal breaker by any means. You may recall that I had one of these guitars in for review not that long ago as part of a 3-way HSS Strat shootout between the Squier and its bigger brother, a made in Mexico Fender Fat Strat, and a lowly Harley Benton, and this one acquitted itself very, very well indeed. This would be an ideal covers band guitar where you had to cover, a wide variety of styles. But maybe a Telecaster is more your cup of tea, and why not indeed? It's often said usually by me, that if you can't play it on a Telecaster, then you probably can't play it, which I know is something of an exaggeration. You wouldn't choose a Telecaster if you were going to play thrash metal, but then again, if you were once again in a sort of middle of the road kind of covers band and had to cover a wide variety of styles with a simple and easy to use guitar, then you can't go far wrong with a Telecaster. And this, for my money, is probably the best guitar, the best Telecaster that has that word on the headstock without spending a ridiculous amount more money. This is, as you can see, the classic vibe 50s Telecaster, which gives you a pine body, maple neck, 21 medium frets, and a nice touch on a Squier, which is Alnico pickups. I always thought it was a bit confusing a couple of years ago, before Fender brought out the Player Series Strats and Tellies, that you could get a classic vibe Telecaster with Alnico pickups, but then when you spent a couple of £100 more or thereabouts and went up to a made in Mexico, you were kind of downgraded to ceramic pickups. Always found that a bit odd. Nevertheless, if I was after a Telecaster and I wanted the word Fender on the headstock, then I don't think you can beat this kind of bang for buck, really. Moving on, if you want something a little bit more Gibson-esque, then this may just fit the bill. What we have here is, of course, an Epiphone Les Paul, and this does everything that you expect of this style of guitar. If you are in love with the sound of a mahogany body with a maple top, a set neck and a pair of humbuckers, then for £225 or thereabouts you can get something very much like this. Let's take a closer look at it. I am a bit of a sucker for that nice tobacco sunburst finish. Go on to eBay and type in Epiphone Les Paul and you are spoilt for choice under the £300 price point. This would do the job if you are in, a Guns N' Roses covers band or something of that ilk, and you want a Les Paul and you don't have Gibson kind of money, but you do want Gibson on the headstock somewhere. Where is it? There it is, up there on the truss rod cover. If you want an official Gibson product and you're on a budget, you could do a lot worse than this. Personally though, if it were me, and I definitely wanted something that said Gibson on the headstock, I'd probably just save up a little bit harder or bend the credit card just that little bit more to get something like this, a used Les Paul Studio, which you can pick up for around £500. But then again, I'm not bothered about the name on the headstock, so I probably wouldn't. But there you go. Finally, another Les Paul inspired instrument, a PRS SE single cut. Once again, this is a guitar that I had in for review, a few months ago, and it acquitted itself very, very well. Very comfortable guitar to play, great pickups for playing big, shouty rock lead guitar solos and crunchy power chord riffs, although I have to say that if you're looking for versatility, I think the Epiphone and versatility in a single cut style instrument, then I would say that the Epiphone kind of has the edge on this. There's just a little bit more transparency and clarity in the pickups on a clean tone. But this is an absolute beast of a rock guitar. Fantastic build quality, because it's PRS, what else would you expect? And, everything that you would expect, mahogany, maple, set neck, etc., etc. A great guitar for the price. And that concludes our roundup of what I think are the best used guitars available for around about £300. And there you have it. Now we come to the crunch question of which guitar would I buy if it were my money? I don't know why I'm wondering. It would be the Telecaster. I do have something of an elemental love for Telecasters, and it would be that one. But assuming I was shopping with me head rather than me heart, then I don't know. I like the look of that Ibanez. You're getting a lot of guitar for your money there, notwithstanding that issue with the trem. But providing you weren't wanting to mess with that, I would say that, in terms of the versatility, in terms of the looks of the instrument, it's a beautiful looking guitar. It's just that right side of, opulent but not ostentatious looking. I think it's a gorgeous looking guitar, and I would probably log on to eBay intending to buy one of those and buy the Telecaster anyway, is the headline news there. So there you go. I hope you found this informative and useful, and maybe it's guided your choice on the used guitar market if, like I said, you're after some kind of middle of the road covers band versatile style instrument. And that's pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video and found it useful. And if you have, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell, and why not give me a like while you're at it. I'll just take a moment as well to mention the charity single that I have out at the moment. It's a cover of the old Wizard tune, I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day, and all proceeds go to Zoe's Place Baby Hospice, a charity in Middlesbrough, which provides palliative, respite and end-of-life care to children under 5 with terminal illnesses. So please buy a copy of the single or just listen to it on Spotify. That in itself generates revenue for the charity and is greatly appreciated. And you know all about my courses, don't you? But I'll mention them again anyway, because there's a new one out, How to Sound Like David Gilmour. It's available now on Udemy, and you can preview it like all the courses for free before you spend a single penny. And that's pretty much it for today, folks. I do hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now, folks. And don't forget, before you go, to check out my Udemy courses, which you can see are available via my website, which is also where you can contact me to get in touch for some one-to-one tuition, either via Skype or in person if you live local to me. I also have merchandise available on my Teespring store, and of course all of the links are in the description. See you next time, chaps.